With British Airways offering direct flights from the UK, St Kitts is now firmly on the Caribbean tourism map. It's an island that has all the usual tick list of sun, sea and sand, but what strikes me most about St Kitts is just how different it is to many other Caribbean islands. Getting around the island's really easy. If you go on an organised tour, you'll be in a bus no bigger than this. You can of course have a taxi driver, or I think St Kitts is a place to hire your own car, drive around and explore it for yourself. A straight drive around the coastline would only take a couple of hours, but there are plenty of distractions along the way. One of the most famous is the magnificent Brimstone Hill Fortress, the only man-made UNESCO World Heritage Site in the Eastern Caribbean. The fort dates back to 1690 and is a monument to the ingenuity of the British engineers who designed it, as well as the skill and endurance of the African slaves who built and maintained it. I'm no historian, but I've really enjoyed my time here today. It's a fascinating place. If you are interested in history, you must allow half a day at least. There's so much to see and find out about. Even if you're not, I would call this a must-see in St Kitts. In fact, I'd probably go so far as to say it's a must-see in the Caribbean. Another interesting stop is Romney Manor, set in beautiful gardens and home to Caribel Batik. Great place to pick up some colourful souvenirs. The capital, Basseterre, is also well worth exploring. This is where the cruise ships dock, so there's lots of shopping and restaurants to enjoy. On weekdays, and especially for Saturday morning market, it's buzzing with life, but I took advantage of the Sunday morning calm to take a walking tour with local guide Annie.
We are now walking up 4th Street. This is the heart of the town. It was enlarged after the Great Fire in 1867. You have the street which is called 4th Street. The French fort was located where these two banks are.
Annie, you have got so many stories to tell.
Yes, I do. I do love telling stories, but the true story, that's what's important, the true story. And it is so beautiful to know so many history about our beautiful island.
St Kitts history adds an extra dimension to a holiday here, but there are lots of other things to see and do. There's a huge range of options for accommodation in St Kitts. The biggest by far is the Marriott Resort. There's over 600 rooms, everything you could possibly conceive of from a resort. So if that's the type of place you like to stay in, St Kitts has got it. There's also much simpler Caribbean-style hotels right near the beach. Timothy's Beach Resort, for example, is literally on a great beach, or you can walk to some really great local bars and restaurants. I have a personal favourite here in St Kitts, and it's the Plantation Inn style of hotel, generally set around historic buildings. So, for example, at Rawlins Plantation, one of the rooms is actually a former sugar mill, and you're sleeping right in the middle of the sugar mill. It's really romantic. Very peaceful, very quiet. Take a good book, expect to hear birdsong and very little else. Good food's a secret to these places too, and that applies at Rawlins and also at Otley's Plantation Inn. It's set in the most magnificent estate, with lovely views down to the sea. With individual cottages and rooms in the original plantation house. A real gem. I defy anyone not to relax completely. St Kitts is relatively new to tourism, but it's catching up fast. There are lots of new developments coming, most notably Christophe Harbour on the southern peninsula. So the island is changing, but I sense a strong desire locally to maintain its unique charm and personality. We've had a really good look around St Kitts, and there is a lot to look at. There's so much history here, the culture's fascinating, the island's very beautiful. I think what's really struck me is the Kittitian people that we've met, who are so friendly, but in a very unforced and natural way. For me, this is unmanicured Caribbean at its best. I like that about it. It feels very authentic.